The debate surrounding the right to bear arms is one that has been ongoing for centuries. It is a topic that invokes strong emotions and polarizes opinions. On one side of the argument, proponents of the right to bear arms believe that it is a fundamental right bestowed upon citizens by the Second Amendment of the United States. Use cases Gene made. The Constitution argue that the ability to own and carry firearms is essential for self-defense and protection against potential threats. In their view, restricting access to guns would leave law-abiding citizens vulnerable and unable to defend themselves. On the other side of the spectrum, opponents of the right to bear arms argue that the proliferation of guns leads to increased violence and crime. They believe that stricter gun control measures are necessary to prevent mass shootings and reduce gun-related incidents. They question the relevance of the Second Amendment in today's society and emphasize the need for comprehensive background checks and restrictions on the sale, the arms, possession of firearms. For them, the right to bear arms is not an absolute right, but a privilege that should be carefully regulated. One argument often put forward by proponents of the right to bear arms is the concept of individual liberty and the importance of being able to exercise one's rights without unnecessary government interference. They argue that the government should not infringe upon their rights as responsible gun owners, as long as they adhere to existing laws and regulations. They believe that an armed citizenry is a deterrent against potential tyranny, ensuring that individuals have the means to protect themselves from both criminals and oppressive governments. Opponents of the right to bear arms, however, argue that the prevalence of guns in society leads to tragic consequences. They point to the alarming rate of gun-related deaths, including suicides, accidents, and homicides. They believe that stricter gun control measures, such as banning assault weapons and implementing waiting periods, can help decrease these incidents. They also emphasize the importance of investing in mental health services and addressing the root causes of violence. It's essential to consider the historical context in which the Second Amendment was written. The framers of the Constitution lived in a vastly different time, where the right to bear arms was connected to the necessity of a well-regulated militia for the security of a young nation. The debate arises on whether this original intent should be interpreted strictly or adaptively to suit the changing societal needs. Proponents argue that the Second Amendment should be upheld in its original form, while opponents stress the need for a more nuanced interpretation that reflects the realities of modern society and balances individual rights with public safety. There is also the argument that the right to bear arms enhances personal and collective responsibility. Proponents believe that responsible gun ownership includes proper training, secure storage, and adherence to ethical guidelines. They argue that lawful gun owners contribute to a safer society by acting as a deterrent to criminals and assisting law enforcement when necessary. Additionally, they highlight examples where individuals with firearms have successfully defended themselves or others from immediate threats. Opponents of the right to bear arms, on the other hand, argue that relying on armed citizens to maintain public safety is problematic and can lead to more harm than good. They emphasize the importance of investing in community-based approaches to crime prevention, such as improved education, mental health services, and conflict resolution programs. They believe that a society with fewer guns will result in fewer incidents of gun violence and a higher overall level of safety for its citizens. In conclusion, the debate surrounding the right to bear arms is complex and multifaceted. That involves balancing individual rights with public safety, interpreting historical context, and considering the impact of firearms on society. Both sides of the argument present valid points, and finding a middle ground that respects individual liberties while ensuring public welfare remains a challenging task. As the discussion continues, it is essential to engage in constructive dialogue and seek common ground to address this contentious issue.